Hello, everyone. We're waiting for Rafi. He should be coming on in about 5 to 10 minutes. As usual, I'm early, about 10 minutes early. And to the people that are watching this as a recording, if you don't want to listen to me saying hello to everyone for the next 10 minutes and answering a few questions, skip 10 minutes forward if you want to listen to the main program. So we've got quite a few of you here already. So we've got Pablo Pina, we've got Alias Jones, Urban Sombrero, Echo, says no silver acquired this week, too much else going on. Enduro Rama from Canada, Spock 2024. Hi, Spock. Dilwyn Roberts from North Wales. Belly Dance Radio says happy Sunday all. Steve Maxwell. Hi, Steve. Great. Cronholio. Long John Silver. Music Lover Forever. Moonraker. Francesca Masso. Good evening, Mario, from my man and myself up here in sunny Scotland. Well, here it hasn't been sunny, and it's been a very cold day today down around London. Urban Sombrero. Shane O'Donnell. Single white male. Salty Reloader from Wales. Ian Campbell. Charles the First. I'm well, thank you. My wife and I actually did a little bit of shopping today, had some lunch, and then came home. Yeah, Billy was on his own for a while. He's okay with that. He's fast asleep now. Tamba Twesha from South Africa, Soul Brother and the Mechadon. Twitter files, yeah, we're not going to get into that. We focus on other things here, but yes, it's very interesting. Rick from Connecticut, Joe from New Jersey, Frank Kavija, Silver Mining, Stocking, Richard Pashers from South Island, west coast of New Zealand. Thomas Moran, Northern Virginia, Frank Kavija. Over here is, yeah, updated with Twitter disclosure. I think the thing about Elon Musk, I think there's two, the deep state is divided. So Elon Musk is a part on one side of the deep state, and the other people are on the other side. I think he's very well connected. So I'm not sure he's yeah, I'm not sure he's 100% behind the people, but I think he's better than the other people. I don't know. It's just too much for me to. Yeah, Billy's doing really well. General Stack is asking. You know, he doesn't see anymore, but he's very healthy. He eats well. We walk twice a day. Yeah. Mr. User from Germany. General Stack, you're one of the best, most measured, sensible PM analysts I've had the luxury to follow. Simple excellence and calm patience. You're welcome. Thank you for that. Over here says, if you're planning to come to New York City, don't. Well, right now I can't go to the US because I'm not fully injected. Didn't want to say that word, but there you go. 1 and 2, Mike and Mario, probably next Friday. We haven't been able to do it the last 2 Fridays. Chud Hunter. Elon Musk's controlled opposition, could be. Or as I said, he's just, the deep state is divided. You know, who's not to say that Trump is in deep state, but there could be a deep state that's more friendly to the people, and one that isn't, the one that's in charge right now. So yeah, the title of the live stream is "Are Silver Shorts Finally Going to Get Squeezed?" So we're going to look at that in about 5 minutes or so. And there's a lot of other topics we're going to cover today. I have a list of topics, and we're going to have Rafi on as well, just waiting him to come on. I'm not gonna, the thing is, it's a lot of distractions, all the politics, all the deep state, Elon Musk, the files and everything. I think we need to focus on the fact on the economy and protect our savings and try to grow our savings. I think there's a lot of opportunities even when things are not going well. So yeah, they want us distracted. Let's focus, keep our attention on these markets, the economy, and stacking. And I want to talk about stacking as well. I saw a question in one of my videos. Someone said, "What, why don't you tell us exactly how to stack?" So yeah, we'll go into stacking 101, so to speak. Lynn Jacobs, yeah, Billy and I are doing well. Fritz from the Netherlands, hi Fritz. Sarah Brown, what about SBF apology? No, I mean, that's just a cover up. The guy, he's a not modern day, because it's not, Madoff was not, he's I guess modern day Charles Ponzi, and he's very good. These people that do these kinds of things, they have, yeah, they come out very like, yeah, they're good bullshitters, excuse my French. And I think that's what he is, that guy. Steve Michaels, stacking here in Florida. Mark Sneed, I agree with you. Ignore all the noise, eye on the prize. Brady Girding, how many ounces of gold to take? The JAB, well, I wouldn't take, no, there's no price for not, they can't buy me. Yeah, Rafi's still not here, just waiting for him, should be on soon. Do you think the market is, don't you think the market is a reflection of politics? I guess if you dig down, yes, because it's a fiat currency system with a central bank. Yes, it's a reflection of the politics. It's highly inflated, but I think it's changing now. The easy money that we've had for 40 years almost, that's over. Hugh Janice says, hello, Mario and Billy. YouTube Christian says, have to work now, stacking in Pennsylvania. That's good. Well, working is important because if you don't have an income, if you're not able to save some of that income, you can't stack. Brown-eyed lady, yeah. SBF interviews were a joke. Yeah, he had George Stephanopoulos interviewing him. George Stephanopoulos worked for the Clinton administration. I think he was like press secretary, or even I don't know what he did for the Clintons, but he's very well connected to the Clintons, Stephanopoulos. And we saw a picture of SBF in the Bahamas with Bill Clinton and Tony Blair. So yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy that it was a mistake. Echo, do you feel the mood music from Biden and Macron and Putin suggests we might have peace soon? I saw some of those headlines, yeah, last week. Who knows? It's possible. It's possible, but I'm not, until it happens, we'll have to wait. AK, thank you for your super chat. Read the book Tower of Basel. Most interesting. Have you read The Fourth Turning? I highly recommend. What would be your number one must-read book? I haven't read The Fourth Turning, but one of my clients about 20 years ago in the States, he told me about the book and he explained to me what it was, but I haven't had the chance to read the book. I think we are in this is the last few years of this is the fourth turning. We should expect big changes. Number one book, difficult to say. Maybe, I don't know. There's so many. I guess to learn about central banking, maybe The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Linda Jenkins, thank you for your super chat. Small bars versus coins. Both, I would say I have small bars and I have coins. But I like both, but maybe coins now could be good as well. Oh, we've got Rafi coming on. Yeah, so Linda, I like both, but I have a lot more coins. So I'd say I prefer coins, yeah, rather than small bars. Bars more for big bars like a 100-ounce or, a kilo bar. But one ounce bars, I'm not too keen on for silver. Hi, Rafi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm well. It's getting a bit cold here, but we've got the heating on, so we're burning some cash.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have a timer, so it comes off when we go to bed, because when you're in bed, it's nice and warm with a duvet. But anyway, so the title today, Rafi, is are silver shorts finally going to get squeezed? And I've got a list of some other topics as well, but welcome, Rafi. And the other thing I would say to the viewers, go and check out Rafi's YouTube channel, Rafi Farber. Also check out the Endgame Investor on Seeking Alpha. I highly recommend the newsletter. And yeah, so I read one of your latest report about this SLV and GLD. So maybe you could talk a little bit about the fact that a lot has been draining from SLV and GLD. There's even though the market has gone up, some people might think, oh, that's bearish, but in a way, it's actually positive. Could you go over that?
Well, from what I saw most recently, is that SLV has been draining for I think 5 straight days. That's not such a big deal in itself, but it's pretty rare when it happens when silver is climbing as fast as it is now. And I guess from the prices, from the spot prices, silver bottomed back in late September, it looks like, and it's been over 2 months from there. About 9. It's been about 9 weeks.
Yeah,
and the supply of silver in SLV has not really gone up much. It hasn't. I mean, it's only been falling the last 5 days, but it should have. It usually goes with the silver price, up with the silver price and down with the silver price. But now it's just it's not going up. Doesn't mean it won't, but it means that right now, at the present time, at least, the paper traders, the chasers, the ones that aren't really interested in silver, they're interested in using silver as a vehicle to speculate. They're not really following this rally. It's not in the paper markets, at least not yet. We'll see if it goes into it, bleeds into it or not.
Yeah, I've got a chart here of silver, spot silver. And one thing I noticed the last time, because you got 1, 2, 3, 4 months here of higher prices. And of course, December isn't over yet, so we could still go down. But the last time we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months of straight up for silver was from April 2020, and from that March low around 12, just below 12. And I think that move from here to here is 164%. I'm not saying we're going to do 164% now, but it looks pretty encouraging. 164% here would be, from this low here would be just below 50. The other chart that's looking interesting, if you look at the daily chart, there's the momentum traders. I don't know if you've heard of the turtle system. Basically, if you break a 22 or 55-day high, people go long. And you see, this is the highest level we've had since June. So it's clearly broken out. And the other thing that I just realized is that if you look at the close of silver last year, it was at 23.28 and we closed at 23.14. So basically silver is unchanged for the year. People go, and you see the S&P is down 5, the Dow's down 5, S&P is down about 16%, and NASDAQ is down about 26. So, and gold, I think, is down 1%. So gold and silver now are doing really well in terms of, what they should do, that they're real money.
Mm. Well, they generally, they look forward. I mean, they look forward at the monetary situation.
Yeah.
So if they're going up, that means that there's a higher chance there's going to be printing sooner, but you also see it in the bond markets.
Yeah. And maybe I'll bring this up because you spoke about this in your recent video about Credit Suisse, the M2 chart. This looks really interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's M2 going, that's the US money supply, right?
Yeah, M2. Yeah, that's from like 1959 up until now. And this is like, you probably had a little bit of a dip here, in the 08 crisis. But this is, I know there's a huge move higher, but now it's like really coming off. And you've spoken about how it's the most negative growth that you have in M2 since then. And usually this causes a big crisis as we've seen, like in 08 and 1987. But right now, the asset markets, like you said in your video, are still doing relatively well because there's still a lot of money in the system. But yeah, maybe you could tell the viewers how you feel about this and what, you're speaking that trying to predict CPI and that it's going to smooth out is a mug's game. And I agree with you because the Fed is going to have to pivot soon.
Yeah, it's not the CPI that's going to determine the Fed's actions. It's going to be some kind of crisis developing in some part of the monetary system. Some bank somewhere is going to ask for help. And then the Fed's going to get a bunch of calls the next day from other banks that are being infected by it. You don't know exactly who it's going to be, what it's going to be, but it's going to be something, and it's not going to be the CPI. It's not going to be like the inflation all of a sudden comes way down, and then, oh my gosh, we need more price inflation, so they print. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
In terms of what I think about this chart, at times like these, I wish my old teacher Bob Wenzel was still alive so he could, and I know what he would say. But really, it's impossible to really know because the movement of the chart, since we're getting into the real parabolic phases of this. I mean, we had a real parabolic growth in money supply in 2020 and 2021, like the system has never seen before. And just looking, if you zoom out, you really see it. It's like it's vertical. So that followed by to be followed by the biggest drop in money supply growth annually ever, and you see that in that little curve downward afterwards that we're undergoing now. So a huge spike followed by a huge drop. What's going to happen? Eventually, there's going to be a collapse. The question is, how long is that lag? How much money is left in the system from the 2020 printing, and how much longer can it support the current capital structure? We don't know the answer, but it's not going to be that long. I mean,
no, it's a little bit like someone learning how to drive and accelerating and braking at the same time. You're going to have an accident. You accelerated, in 2020, and now you're like putting the brake on. uh, and you created so many imbalances from that. From you created so many imbalances from this year, and people forget up until the beginning of the year that there's still M2 is still going up. So it's just recently that it started going down. So they pumped a lot of liquidity into the system. So I wanted to cover, I've got a few subjects also I wanted to cover aside from, SLV and the fact that we could see a squeeze in silver finally. So I got asked a question, Rafi, in one of my videos this week, and the guy or a person said, "Oh, you talk about stacking, but you never explain what it means." And maybe I just assume people know what stacking is. So you give your version of what you think and how people should stack gold or silver, and then I'll talk about my version. So maybe that could help people that have never done it and what it means.
Well, what do you mean? Just the word stacking? It means to, put coins in a stack and put them in your safe somewhere or somewhere in your possession.
Yeah.
And just to like old school, just like to have money in your own bank account,
Yeah.
your own piggy bank. It could be literally putting coins in a piggy bank if you want to
Yeah.
do that.
You could, yeah. And it's not because they asked as well, oh, is it buying GLD or SLV? No, so you can't stack those. Those ETFs don't really, yeah, they might redeem gold and silver for the big, huge funds if you have millions and millions. But we normal investors or stackers, yeah, what we mean is stacking like you buy cans of food, you stack them. Is the same thing with money. And the way to start, I would say, when I started buying gold and silver 2002 and 3, yeah, I went online and I Googled where can I buy gold and silver or coins, and I found loads of places. And I was working in the city of London, so I found some a jeweler, and I found gold investments that were nearby. And then you just go there, and you got to just dip your toes in the water. There's no there's no secret. You just gotta you go and you talk to the dealers, and you get help. And for those of you who are in North America, I have some affiliates that can help. All the details below in the description. And in the UK, I've got gold investments. It's all in the description. Anything else on that, Rafi, about how to find the reputable dealer and what to do?
How to find a reputable dealer? It's not that hard to find a reputable dealer. I mean, you can deal with Andy Schechman is trustworthy, and he's one of Mario's affiliates. You can also do AppMex. I've ordered from them, no problems. If you want someone more serious and you have more money, you might want to talk to Egon von Greyers. I like him too, and Claudio Grass in Switzerland.
Yeah.
But you'll find someone,
Yeah.
and most of them are honest. And you don't want to go on like the secondary market and go like some guy's house on who's selling on eBay or something. I mean, you could buy on eBay, but that's more risky.
Yeah.
Just go with the dealer and make sure that you're spacing it out so that you're comfortable with your purchases and you're not overextending yourself. And you can sleep without worrying about what the price is going to be a week, a month, or 6 months from now. It doesn't really matter. Just put some of your liquidity away every month, and at the end of a few months, you'll have a good amount. That's all.
Yeah. I've also looked here today at the in the UK, the premiums for at different bullion dealers, and I found that the premium for 1 ounce Britannias are still pretty high. They're ranging from 25 to like 50% premiums. The sovereigns everywhere, they're like at least 10% premium to 12%. Some dealers are run out of sovereigns, and I guess the 1 ounce gold, 1 ounce Britannia, they're between 5 to 8%. So they're a little lower than the sovereigns. So I find that the physical supply is still quite tight here in the UK. Have you? I heard that you talking about how the silver premiums haven't. They've come off a little bit because the uh, s- uh, physical prices haven't reacted as quickly as the paper prices. Rafi.
Just by the nature of the market, they're not going to
Yeah.
react as quickly because
Yeah.
companies have their inventory. It's going to last for a while, and they don't constantly shift prices every day
Yeah.
depending on the spot price. They
Yeah.
have, a business model, and they have to keep it, and they have accounting, and so they shift their prices every so often, which is why when you see suddenly if silver just like collapses like it did in March 2020 to like $11, the
Mm,
premiums will skyrocket. It doesn't mean that the premiums are bigger. It just means that
yeah.
they haven't adjusted their prices yet to reflect the spot prices. Maybe they can't even do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see here. 22. I think yeah, let's see. There's another story I wanted to cover here. The OPEC story. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is it. It's from Zero Hedge. OPEC Plus keeps oil production unchanged. So they've maintained the 2 million barrels output cut um, after launch of Russia price cap. This Russia price cap by the EU, I think it's not going to work. It's just something for virtual signaling to the European public. But yeah, so it looks like OPEC Plus is also concerned about China and the fact that they've got these strict COVID rules, but it looks like they're also starting to um, loosen these rules because of all the protests. So that could actually give oil prices quite a boost, as they say here. It says here a global economic slowdown. It says in speculation about the day that China's reopening, which many believe will send oil prices sharply higher. And then the other thing that is interesting, they talk about how the infrastructure for producing oil has been neglected for quite a while, and that it could create problems in the future. In terms of the Western economy, Rafi, we saw the non-farm payroll data. They were stronger than expected, but and the market reacted like gold dumped, stocks dumped, yields went up, and then at the end of the day, everything had reversed. I spoke about that yesterday in my video, and I said I don't think the market bought into a strong economy. How do you see the U.S. economy, and especially with that M2 chart crashing like that?
Well, we see in the non-farms payroll show that that wages were up, right? That basically the economy is more of in a fever than they hoped for. They were hoping for a slowdown in wages, so that would, they believe in this like cycle. You more wages, more higher prices leads to higher wages, lead to higher prices, and that's true on the surface. And if it's happening now when the money supply is falling, that just means that the lag in the labor market and the consumer prices is it's not really reflecting the money supply shrinkage yet, but that's because these markets are at the end of the structure of production, so they get affected last. But they if the Fed keeps raising interest rates and the money supply keeps falling as a result, then yeah, you're going to have more unemployment, you're going to have lower wages. It's going to happen. But then before any of that can actually be triggered, you're going to have a banking crisis because that happens first before before any other stuff happens. So before the labor market is going to have a chance to react negatively to
Mm.
the money supply falling, the banks are going to suffer first, and that's going to be the most obvious. And the Fed's going to have to pivot before anything even happens to the consumer market.
Yeah, and yeah, it's possible also that the Fed will try to help the banks, which I think they've done already. They've sent like dollars to the Swiss National Bank. It was probably for Credit Suisse, but eventually they could even do a bail-in, which is that's why another reason for people not to leave too much of
Yeah.
their balances with the banks. But I wanted to show you because we're speaking about the crack up boom, which you think could happen, and I think can happen, will happen as well, because you know, I don't think there's any way out for them.
It has to happen if we
Yeah.
want humanity to come back to sanity.
Yeah, but someone tweeted to me this the other day, which is quite interesting. The gold and silver prices in Germany during the Weimar Republic, and you see they started at, there's $12 silver, $170 gold, and it looks like the inflection was, you know, around here sometime in the beginning of 22, like it really started picking up. And it's interesting, this person wrote here, I hadn't seen that, gold silver ratio in May 1923 was 16-1, but and gold was 710,000 already. But then interestingly, at the end of the hyperinflation, I know silver went up a lot, but gold went up even more, 160-1. And I think the reason for that, and I'll let you maybe give why you think that happened, is because silver is a lot more bulky than gold. So it was easier to try to get gold than silver. And I think that's why gold outperformed in the crack up boom. It could be different this time around. What's your view, Rafi?
I don't know how much I trust these numbers.
Yeah.
And I mean, towards the beginning, from 1919, let's say, to, you know, mid 1923, I guess they're more or less accurate, but I don't even know that. I mean, because, like, how are these tabulated? Are these talking about exchanges, or, you know, big paper markets, international markets? Or are they talking about, like, if you go into a store and you offer coins, how much you can get for them? I mean, once you have a hyperinflation like this, the numbers are pretty meaningless. And
Yeah.
if you're a family and you're looking for, like, basic necessities to survive the day or the week, and you have silver coins or gold coins, and you're going to ask me, what am I more likely to get my food with? I would
Silver.
say you're silver. I don't
Yeah.
care what the exchange rates are, or how many
Yeah.
zeros are after this, or how many zeros. No, you're going to want silver, because you can't go in with a gold coin and get things that, you know, are practical. It's too expensive. So forget about these numbers, especially when you get to the trillions in here. Like, how do you measure this? It's all academic nonsense.
Yeah, I think the way they got these numbers maybe is through the dollar and sterling exchange rate against the Reichsmark, because
Yeah,
the
it's
dollar was,
indirect math. It's indirect
yeah,
math they
yeah,
get from these tables. It's not like
yeah,
they interviewed people in 1923 and said, "How did you get your stuff? How did you survive the day?" How,
yeah,
you know, this isn't. It's not like real research.
yeah,
It's tabulations of tables.
yeah. I think there's someone trying to push more gold than silver, but I think both are good. Oh, just wanted to show another a tweet here for the viewers. You've probably seen this, Rafi, that central banks are still buying a lot of gold, and the gold reserves are the highest since 1974. If you guys are on Twitter, I recommend this guy, Krishnan Gopal. He follows the World Gold Council data.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you showed this to me before. Yeah, I have seen it.
I think he tweeted it December 2nd, so quite recently. I think Wall Street Silver picked it up, and then I followed this guy. We got Chris Conman. Thank you for your super chat. When CBDCs are finally released, and after a period they will fail, what will U.S. Treasury then bring in as a backup to it? Thanks. You want to give your
Nothing. The Treasury is going to fall. I don't even know if they're going to be able to bring out CBDCs, because, like, it takes a lot of logistics to upend a monetary system like this, especially technologically, and you got to get people to have the equipment to do it, and you have all these populations that aren't even have no idea what you're even doing or talking about. Like think about what happened in India. I think this is one of your most popular videos, right? Like when they
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
demonetized that large denomination bill, and then, like, there was chaos in the farming market and nobody knew what to do. Like that was just one bill, like
Yeah.
one piece of cash. I mean, imagine if they change the entire monetary system as a CBDC overnight, and the chaos that'll erupt from that. It's impossible to like tell these things. We're talking about humongous towers of Babel that affect the whole world, and they think that they're going to be able to implement this, and they can't even like
Yeah.
they're
I,
they're in way over their heads.
yeah, I think we're personally at a, because we are in the fourth turning, I would say. And if you go back to the past, one of the fourth turnings was during the American Revolution, where you had the continental dollar that collapsed, and they had to come up with a new constitution, a new treasury, and eventually they paid off the continentals. And I think we're in the same kind of situation, not just for the US, but for a lot of the West. So, yeah, I don't think the treasuries are going to survive. And that's why you shouldn't have any government bonds, not just in the US, but anywhere. And that's why you shouldn't have any, fiat currency, because they're the flip side of the government bonds and the debt.
Mhm.
Um, Another thing I saw that came out today that's quite interesting, Rafi, and this maybe gives a better idea of how the US economy is doing and how the world economy is going to do, is this story. It came out today. Uh,
Yeah, I saw that. I saw
saw that.
that.
Yeah. So 40% is quite a bit. And we also saw that Chicago PMI dropped to like 37, I think, on Thursday. So yeah, things are not good. Just wanted to show you guys this. What else have I got here? Oh yeah, this is Rafi's video that I'm gonna show them, because I recommend people watch it. And you talk a lot about M2. You talk a lot about Credit Suisse. I thought it was a good video, and you got quite a lot of views.
Yeah,
25,000,
yeah,
probably one of your best, is it or
yeah.
not?
It's been my best so far. I'm not sure exactly why, but
Yeah. Well, I did one about 10, 12 days ago, and I interviewed a guy that I met through LinkedIn. He asked me to connect with on LinkedIn, and he watches my videos. He's retired and in Switzerland. And I
Mhm.
said, he wrote something on LinkedIn. I said, well, would you like to talk about it on, do an interview? And I wasn't sure if you'd say yes. And he said, yes. And we've got like 250,000 views, which is crazy for me. And we talked about the Fed's balance sheet, and we also talked about CBDCs, that he thinks they might try to usher CBDCs in when there is a huge crisis, when everything collapses. Whether they're successful, I'm not too sure. But I'm going to interview him again on the 9th. So yeah, I'm glad you should. Hopefully, you guys, let me put a link so people can listen to your, where is it? A
Uh,
link
He,
video.
he might not be sure that CBDCs will work. I'm sure that they won't. So
Yeah, I'm
well,
I- I'm more like you. And yeah, let's try to get this Rafi video up to 30,000. People should share it and also subscribe to Rafi. Anything you want to show on this video to the viewers? Maybe we can click on it.
sure. It's a long one, 14 minutes. I have to remember exactly what I
Yeah,
talked about.
just leave it, because I don't know if we can
Yeah.
even do that for copyright. Who knows? Uh, World Cup, just to let the England fans know, England is up 3-0. Oh, it's finished. England won, so that's good. Do, Israel's not in the World Cup, is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched any of the games. I will only watch a game if Brazil gets to the final with England, and then I might watch it.
I don't know. The only sport I watch these days is still American football. It's the only sport I like.
You're a Dolphins fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan. Yeah.
I like the Dolphins too. Uh, let's see. Let's have a look at some of the questions now. And I still have some other topics. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Inflation. Oh, yeah. Maybe, Rafi, you could talk about inflation, plentiful jobs. bad quality products. You spoke about that in your.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah.
in one of the Endgame Investor
Yeah.
newsletters. I had recalled this line from When Money Dies, Adam Ferguson's book, and when he was describing what was going on in the economy back then,
Yeah.
he was saying that the employment situation in the Weimar Republic was pretty good in terms of that, like, everybody had a job.
Yeah.
Why? Because why did everybody have a job? Because it was so cheap to employ people, because the money was constantly losing value. So you just, like, you hire a day laborer for a day or two, and somebody takes a job for a little bit, just to be able to eat food for the next few days, and then he lays off and finds something else. It's like turnover is huge. It's like it's a fever, right?
Hmm.
That's what happens when you have a fever. Like, your temperature goes up, and, like, internally, like, your cellular activity, it looks like you're very active, and maybe it might seem like on a cellular level you're exercising, but really you're sick.
Yeah.
So when wages are going up really fast, and then people are spending them on food, that's a fever, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So we'll see how hot it gets. But hyperinflation would be like, a major fever, and like an explosion. That's what it is, and that's where everything has to head to.
Hmm.
Question of how fast it takes us to get there.
There's a guy here, Rafi, who's a fiat bug. He's saying the dollar won't collapse and that the dollar's king. Could you try to explain to him why the dollar is actually a substitute for money?
Oh, well, why is it a substitute for money?
Yeah.
Because it was born that way, and all prices have to index themselves to the past. This is something that even most people on our side don't understand. Um, that it's just historically, every hyperinflation that's ever happened has seen gold and silver go to infinity, because it's the flip side of the same coin. That's when there is no longer any gold or silver value in your currency, that is when your currency collapses. So yeah, okay, the dollar is the king of the gold substitutes. True, that's true. It's
Mm.
king of the gold substitutes. I don't dispute that. It's the best gold substitute. But all gold substitutes die. There is not a single gold substitute that has ever survived, because all of them get printed, because it pays to do that. So
Yeah.
whoever prints them gets the seigniorage, and then they abuse the privilege, and then there's a revolt, and then it collapses. Every single gold substitute has collapsed, and the dollar won't be the first one to not collapse. There's nothing special about the American society. I mean, it was special. It was special for hundreds of years, but it succumbed to the same problems that all empires do,
Mm.
and they're not immune to that. And the dollar's gonna die. It's gonna
Mm.
die.
Scott 49 140 says he watched a video of Powell on 60 Minutes. He was asked about the wealth disparity, and he claimed it's not totally the Fed's fault. Well, at least he said it wasn't totally the Fed's fault. Um, and there's probably other factors that affect wealth disparity. I mean, in the fiat currency system, when you have inflation, you usually hurt the general public a lot more because they don't have the wherewithal to protect themselves by buying assets. They're also not so close to the money spigot. But the other thing as well, I would say the tax code helps the very wealthy because a lot of them can put their wealth offshore. They can get paid in dividends. I don't think, isn't there a tax break for dividends? There's a lot of other things as well, but I would say at least he wasn't totally dishonest because he said not totally the Fed's fault. What's your view on that subject, Rafi?
In terms of inequality,
Wealth inequality that we've seen, I think, in the 60s, a CEO earned 25 times the average worker. Now it's like almost 400 times.
mhm. Well, it is mainly the Fed's fault. But I mean, it's not. it's not the Fed's fault in terms of if the Fed did a better job, then there would be less
Yeah,
inequality.
yeah.
That's not there's no good job that the Fed can do. Like the Fed could theoretically just like when it was founded, promise never to print a single unbacked unit of dollar and just not do anything ever. That would be fine. But that's not gonna happen. That was never gonna happen. That was
Yeah.
never the destiny. Um, but yeah, the main driver behind inequality is inflation. That's how it's always been. Because when you steal from the middle class mostly because that's where the money is. And stealing through inflation hurts the middle class, which is why inflation hurts the middle class. When you hurt one group of people, it's a zero sum game. You help the other group of people through theft. You don't, when you steal from someone, you are gaining from that theft. It's not like they're not just like throwing money out and burying it, they're taking it. So that's what they're doing. And the Fed is behind that. And I'm sure there's some other minor causes, but who cares? It's
Yeah, that's why I always go on about the definition of inflation because they try to keep people blind about inflation. They try to tell people, oh, higher food prices and oil prices created inflation. No, it's the Federal Reserve printing unbacked currency out of thin air. And, usually their friends benefit from it and the government as well. We got a super chat here, Frank Kavija. Thank you for your super chat. FedNow site is up and going live in 2023. Scary.
what's Fed now?
Yeah, I don't know. What's the FedNow site, Frank? Maybe he will answer that. I haven't heard about a FedNow site. Is that a CBDC site? I don't know. Could be. Let's see if we have any questions. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask questions. Well, over here as a question, what is happening Friday that can affect the precious metals market, specifically silver?
On Friday?
This coming Friday? That's like the 9th of November, December? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Or do you mean the last Friday? Gianfranco Bergagna says, Mario, behave better if you can. Don't know what that means. Chris Conman, thank you for your super chat. Will there ever come a point where gold and silver are no longer a store of value? My answer is for the last 4,000 years, it has been, but anything is possible. But I still think they are stores of value. Does it mean to say that one day they won't be a store of value? Maybe in a Mad Max world where there's no exchange and everyone's gone mad, maybe they won't be. But yeah, that's my view on it. Rafi, have you got a view on that?
What would have to happen? We would have to have a complete, amnesiac reset of the entire planet with no relation or no memory of any existing price array and no knowledge of how to mine gold and silver. And the existing supply would have to be entirely whisked away by aliens. That would do it. But okay.
All right, that's a good answer. Okay. Echo, will we have direct deposits with central banks now and cut out retail banks? I guess that's I guess it's to do with the CBDC. I don't think the central banks want to be involved with retail accounts, to be honest.
No, that sounds totally fantastical. I mean, you're talking about cutting out the jobs of like every bank on Wall Street and every bank that has buddies in the federal government. They're not gonna that sounds impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of small community banks as well all over the United States. And I don't think the Fed central banks, that's what a lot of people think. I don't think it will work. I think Powell said they're considering CBDC, but they have to find out whether it's beneficial to the people they serve. Yeah.
They don't care about the people they serve. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, that was just probably answering on a testimony or something.
We got a lot, not let our imaginations run wild.
Yeah.
You know,
Because I think as well, if and I think we're on the road to the crack up boom and hyperinflation, because not just the debt situation and the economy and the supply chains and geopolitical mess, but also internal politics is crazier than it's ever been, I think. And those are all the symptoms. I mean, you could look at 1790s France when the assignats collapsed. You look at Weimar Germany and Central Europe, because it's not just Germany that saw hyperinflation. It was also Austria, Hungary, and all those countries. They just come out of the war, and like the Habsburg Empire collapsed, the German Empire, the Kaiser abdicated. It was a mess, and I feel we're in the same kind of world right now. And yeah, so for them to say we screwed everything up, the currencies collapsed, and people, and to believe that we're going to say, oh yeah, so give us a CBDC now and it will work, unless they say we'll give you a CBDC, but it's backed by gold and silver, and you can actually redeem CBDCs for gold and silver. Unless they do that, I don't think it will work.
even if they do that, that means that they would have to say goodbye to the entire pyramid they've built up. If we're going to have a gold and silver backed something, I do not believe that when we get to that point, it's not going to be managed by any government or any government buddy. I mean, they're going to be long gone by then, and it's going to be, green shoots of, creative people reorganizing from the bottom up. And since we don't want to have nothing during that reorganization process, that's why we're stacking now, because we don't know exactly how it's going to look. I don't know if it's going to be a blockchain, or it's just going to be another paper, or it's going to be just, digital account and some kind of thing somewhere on the internet. I have no idea what it's going to be. All I know is that the material, the metal, is going to have value, and I'll deposit it wherever I need to deposit it to get whatever substitute is the most valuable substitute, so I can use it to buy things. That's all.
Yeah. We've got DMC says, I'm selling a house and worried the banks might fail while the funds are in escrow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how long that will be for. The funds are in escrow. There is a story, and I don't want to scare you, DMC. My uncle back in the late 80s in Brazil, he bought a property because he's a doctor, and he bought a property for it to put his new practice, and he completed the deal on, let's say, day 20. And on day 21, when he took possession of the property, they did like a currency reset in Brazil. He was fine. The guy who took the money, who sold the property, he had some money, but it was worth a lot less. So there is that. But hopefully, hopefully you'll be okay. That's all I can say. Any views on that, Rafi?
You can't really predict these things, but in order to ensure yourself again, that is going to happen. There's going to be the reset, and people with dollars are going to suddenly have a lot less. People with pounds are suddenly going to have a lot less, which is why, again, that's why we stack to be able to withstand these things that we know are coming.
Yeah, I mean, let's just hope for you that you get the money or get the property. I'm not sure which way around it is, and that the escrow situation doesn't last too long. What will happen to fractional reserve banking system after the dollar collapses? Well, I personally think bankers will always try to do fractional reserve. Even before the Federal Reserve was created back in the 1800s, you had the free banking. And banks used to lend more than they had, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years. the goldsmiths in London, their rule of thumb is they used to lend, if they had a gold ounce, they would lend 9 or 10. And because they found out that a lot of people, they never came back all at once to take their money. So unfortunately, fractional reserve banking can even happen in a world where there's no Federal Reserve and no fiat currency. But the only thing about a fractional reserve system, I would say, in the world where there's no central bank, is that there's no like moral hazard. A bank that misbehaves will be out of business very quickly, and that's a good thing, I think. Let the free market decide.
Actually, I was learning something pretty interesting. This is pretty an arcane point. But in the Jerusalem Talmud talks about the late Second Temple period. Right? There was a custom that on the Feast of Tabernacles, when all the Jews would have their palm branches, right? But if the first day was on a Sabbath and they couldn't carry them, so they would all deposit them on the Temple Mount the day before. And then like more people would come on the Sabbath than when there were branches available. And there would be all these fights that broke out because some people would come and they didn't have their branches there. They would fight other people. And then eventually the rabbis just ended the whole practice and said, if it's the Sabbath, then just don't bring your branches and forget it, because we can't do this fractional reserve lulav stuff. It doesn't work.
Yeah, fractional reserve. Yeah, it's always it's very tempting for they were the goldsmiths actually that started it out, and I think it was on Lombard Street, which is still in the city of London. And let's see. Credit Suisse would be bailed out by the SNB. Too embarrassing for Switzerland, as credibility already at a low. Well, that's from John the Accountant. I'm not too sure about that, John the Accountant, because the Swiss National Bank is losing hundreds of billions of dollars as well, because they hold a lot of tech stocks. And the Swiss National Bank is public and private. What I think will happen, and it's even in the Swiss law, is bail-ins. And again, people need to, if you have huge balances with your banks, I think it's in trouble. I'm not telling you should take it out and buy gold and silver, but I would be doing it. Rafi, maybe you can talk about central bank's balance sheets a little bit. I saw a tweet the other day that, like, the Bank of Japan, for every 1% rise in interest rates, that they could be losing like $260 billion, or 26, a huge amount. So I think it's a huge problem, central bank's balance sheet, mainly because interest rates are going higher.
Yeah. Well, central bank balance sheet, it can like mess with your head a little bit, but the key is not to divorce yourself from just the basic logic of it. If you have like just a bank, let's say 500 years ago, that issues receipts for the gold and silver deposited in it, and has their own balance sheet in terms of how many receipts it has circulating versus how much gold and silver it has in its vaults, and those better balance out, or you have a problem on your balance sheet. And if the balance sheet is if they made loans in there, that's the equivalent of like bonds and interest rates. If they made loans of their gold and silver out to some other thing, and then that thing goes bankrupt, and then they lose their gold and silver, then what are people going to do? They're going to redeem their notes that they have for whatever's left in the bank vaults, and then whatever isn't redeemed is going to be worthless. So it's the same with central bank balance sheets now. They're losing value, which means that the liability unit of that central bank is going to lose value too, just like it would hundreds of years ago with a receipt for gold and silver. There's still receipts for gold and silver. It's just more removed. There's just the other derivative layers in between that confuse us.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and the don't forget, the Bretton Woods agreement was suspend the convertibility of the American dollar, as Nixon said, was suspended temporarily. So, there's still, it's still not, it wasn't, they didn't do it for forever, definite. And he had to say temporarily because or else the dollar would have collapsed back in the 70s. So yeah, technically, we've never really gone off a gold system. I would say it's just that it's not convertible at a fixed rate anymore.
It's impossible to go off a gold system.
Yeah.
It can be done. Once you go off of gold, that means you can't exchange your substitute for gold, and that is hyperinflation. That's
Yeah,
going off.
yeah. A lot of people don't understand that. Um, Credit Suisse, the best show in town. Hold the popcorn. Someone's saying. Any thoughts of the target ratio for stacking gold to silver? Even though I know silver is a deal of a lifetime, I can't help but stack gold around 30-1. I'll answer first. I don't get too bogged down in how much gold and relative to silver I have. I just try to buy as much as I can of both. I think I could do my ratio, but I've something I've never done. And I think it's all a personal thing. I think, Rafi, you prefer silver, don't you?
Yeah, but I also have some gold, not here. Like I don't store it with me, but
Yeah.
just do what makes you sleep best. Everyone's different.
Yeah.
I can just say that in the end, I do believe that at the peak of a monetary crisis, we're going to go to 15-1, not for very long, and that's when you want to spend your silver. But there's also risks. So like you don't want to stack so much silver in your house because like, what if God forbid there's a fire or something? Anything could happen, and if there's something you have to get out of your house really quickly, you want to like know where your gold is and just like take it, and it's not going to be that heavy because there's not that much of it, and then just leave. And with your silver, it's going to be harder to do that. So you do want to have some gold also. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to prepare for as much as you can prepare for without losing your own head.
Mm-mm. Yeah, someone just said here, silver is heavy for old people. That's true. Let's see. Ant H says, do you ever listen to Alistair McLeod? I do. And I have contacted him a few times in the past, but he never came back. So I wouldn't mind having him on. But yeah, I do. I've listened to him and I've read his stuff for many years because he's written for Gold Money. And I do have a Gold Money account, but I don't have much in there. But yeah, so I know of Alistair McLeod. I think you've spoken to him recently, haven't you, Rafi?
Yeah, I was on Silverfest with Chris Marcus, and we had a joint panel.
Yeah. No, he's a good guy to listen to.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about banking.
Yeah. I think he started out in the 70s in the city of London, so he's been around for a while. The other guy that I've interviewed a few years ago is James Turk. He's very knowledgeable as well. I think he worked for Chase Manhattan Bank, James Turk. So
I can't wait until Daniel Oliver's gold book comes out. I think it's called Gold Tears, and I think he finished it.
Tears like crying.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, I didn't know he was writing. Is that maybe he's been quiet of late, hasn't he?
He's a quiet guy. He doesn't really.
Yeah, I think I
much.
interviewed him once, and that was just when the lockdowns were starting in 2020. And it was nice of him to talk to me. But then he left New York City because of that, and he didn't have much time after that. Someone says, I just discovered Merrill Jenkins. Man was ahead of his time. I haven't heard of Merrill Jenkins. Have you, Rafi?
No, I haven't.
No. Let's see. Buy pre-33 gold and junk silver. Oh yeah, what do you think about gold confiscation in the US? Do you think my view is that back in 33 gold was a lot more important in terms of the public's perception of it. It was money. It still is, but it was used as money and currency, so they had to do the confiscation.
No,
Not had to, but they did it. But
I don't
nowadays,
think it's going to happen because we call it legally confiscation. We use that word, but it wasn't confiscation. It was like it was Roosevelt ordered that all the gold be taken, and everyone was like, okay, here, take it, give me my 35 my $21. It's not
yeah,
like he just stole it straight
yeah,
up. He gave 21 the statutory value for it, so everyone was feeling patriotic, and this guy's trying to save the country, and he's got his new deal and
yeah.
whatever, and they're like, sure, okay, fine. And so it was just voluntary. It was
Yeah,
that's what it
kind
was.
of. A
But
lot of people did. Yeah, I think
yeah,
it was a little bit like during lockdown here in the UK. They all, they said, "Oh, get your NHS track and trace and put it on your phone." And I never did because I knew once they can track me on my phone, they'll always track me. But they didn't force it. But a lot of people just did it because they thought it was the for the greater good. And like you said, that's what it was. And I
yeah,
think a lot of people got away with it. They just buried their gold coins or yeah.
yeah. So if the government, besides FDR, had a lot of respect. Nobody has respect for Biden. Nobody.
No.
No one's gonna, like, if there's a hyperinflationary collapse and the Biden administration is like, oh, everybody give us your gold and you'll be fine. What are they gonna, like, okay, here, senile old man, take my gold. They're not gonna do that.
And he's gonna
They're gonna
go
have to, they're gonna
sniff
it's gonna be
sniff the
violent if
gold.
they try to take it. It's gonna be
Biden.
violent. There's gonna be people killed. And nobody wants that.
No, it's like Putin. There's a picture of him holding a 400-ounce bar. Biden is going to be sniffing the bar.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Someone says the dog ate my gold. Yeah, Billy likes silver though, so there you go. We got a few more minutes, Rafi. Yeah, I saw that video you made. You talked about that stock uranium royalty. Yeah, I have some of those. The other, just talk a little bit about the miners. They did quite well as well last week, and I think that's encouraging. I mean, for the viewers, this is not financial advice, but I think personally it's good to have like some Newmont and Barrick, like Franco-Nevada, the big gold producers, or royalty, and then the junior miners and explorers. That's completely different. That's a lot more speculative. What's your view, Rafi, on that?
Well, my favorite ones are actually the larger mid-tier miners, like Fortuna, or what's it called, EXK. I forgot what the name of it was. Endeavor Silver.
First Majestic, have you got any of that?
First
Yeah, I've
Majestic.
got some of that.
It was
Yeah.
like the established towards the larger side mid-tier miners, where you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about, like, them going bankrupt or
Yeah.
anything. Or they have more than one mine.
Yeah.
If something happens to it, they're not in trouble. Those I think will do the best. Or is it, Newmont? I own Newmont and Barrick, but I
Yeah.
don't think they will do as well as
Yeah.
the larger mid tiers.
What about, have you heard of Alamos? Is it Alamos Gold? I
I
think,
have. I
yeah,
have.
they're one of the top 14, so market cap. They could be an interesting one. No, someone's asking if Rafi plays golf. You don't play golf, do you?
No, I don't play golf. I jog and I play some frisbee, and I go to the gym.
Yeah, I don't think there's much golf in Israel, is there?
No room for golf courses here now.
No, no. Maybe just indoor virtual reality golf, like you can hit into a screen. Yeah, but yeah. Echo says, my advice to people is, if you have friends who are a couple, then if you use Messenger, oh, no, I'm not, that's something, I don't know why. Won't read that. Gary, some people are talking about Gary Gensler. Yeah.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's the head of the SEC. Yeah,
Oh.
he used to be an ex-Goldman Sachs guy. The thing is about Sam Bankman-Fried, he's very well connected. We're just talk a little bit about that. It's a bit like John Corzine.
Mhm.
He was an ex-Goldman, the head of Goldman in the 90s. Then he became governor of New Jersey. And then it was really weird because I left MF Global in 2010, early 2010. And then a few months later, he took over it as CEO. And I thought, that's weird. Why would John Corzine go work for MF Global? Because we're a small broker. And then I think 6-9 months later, MF Global collapsed. And why did it collapse? Well, because he was trading with clients' money, and he lost a lot of money during the European sovereign debt crisis. And the thing about MF Global is that we're purely a broker. We only bought and sold for clients, and we only earned the commission. So, but nothing happened to John Corzine, and unfortunately, I don't think anything will happen to Sam Bankman-Fried. What's your view, Rafi?
If nothing's happened to him by now, nothing is going to happen to him.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know, some sad, messed up kid.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I guess MF Global, what does it stand for? Man Financial. It used to be because Man Financial was the company before, and when I joined, it was Man Financial, and then in 2007 it went public. It used to be part of EDF Man, and it was the futures arm. And then in 2007, it spun out of EDF Man and did an IPO, and it became MF Global. Even though the guy who was the CEO and took it public said he said it meant something else. You can deduct what it means. I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it here. Okay, just one more question because we run out of time. Chill says, any thoughts on why SBF from FTX hasn't been arrested yet? Well, we just said that because he's well connected. I think he not only donated to the Democrat Party, he also donated to the Republicans, and I think he has friends in high places, and that's it.
Yeah, there's no justice left. There's no even pretense of it.
Yeah,
which is another sign that we're close to the end of it.
Yeah, we're close to the collapse of the system. Yeah, there you go. So, Rafi, thank you again for coming on, and anytime you want me to come on your channel, let me know.
Okay, yeah, we'll do another one soon.
Take care.